Okay, so good morning, everyone. This marks the guidance for the preparation of the upcoming test, which is microbiology. You're writing on the Friday. Okay, so this is more like an assistant on the guidance and what areas to concentrate most on the topics that will be displayed as I explain on what important topics to touch, especially when it comes to this kind of format, the MCQs, true or false, or AC questions. Okay, so this class is actually very much important because you might be studying things which are not even coming in the test. So this class doesn't necessarily mean that everything that I'm going to direct you will come in the test, but these are the most important parts that you, as you are studying, you must target. Okay, so my name is Oscar Chirembo, a fourth year nursing student at the University of Zambia. All right, so without wasting much of our time, we can get started. All right, so in the introduction, when it comes to uh, this topic, microbiology, in the introduction, you should mostly concentrate on the histories. So the history about the past. Okay. So there are specific scientists who made some various experiments and they did whatever they did. Okay. So it's very much important that you know these scientists and when they carried out their experiments. Okay, so there are some experiments which are carried about, let's say, on communicable diseases. What are they? You know, like explaining the spores and sterilization. This just give a brief introduction to microbiology. Okay, so it's important for you to know all those scientists who played the critical role for you to come up with for them to introduce this course to say that there is a need to introduce to study microbiology. It means that there are people who made their effort. Okay, so this mainly concentrate on those people and the theories they develop. So there are some theories on introduction like spontaneous generation. What is spontaneous generation? Who discovered it first? Who discovered it second? And who discovered third? So in MCQ, they can ask who discovered spontaneous generation first. Okay. Then from there, you can also they are the same scientists. There's also the germ theory of disease. You know how a disease develop. You know, there are some theories which were actually discovered to say that these are ones which lead to disease. Okay, so some of them say that it's because of bad air. Then there is coach postulate a step by step on how you can what's this? You can you can develop a disease. So coach postulate, you need to know all those steps of coach postulate because they can ask you to state those. There are about five major processes of coach postulate. So you need to know them in the introduction. So I feel for the introduction, that's all. So just know most of these things, the one I've mentioned here, even the importance of the microbiology in the introduction. Okay, by then you would have done most of the things. Then on microbial and taxonomy. Most on microbial and taxonomy, you need to know the terms, the definition of terms. Okay, so the definition of terms, you need to understand what is taxonomy. Okay, so the classification, apart from the classification, you need to know the binomial nomenclature of giving scientific name. You need to differentiate you need to differentiate some terms like species and strains, know the component of binomial nomenclature. So we always start with a genus, then end with a species. So for example, like Homo sapiens, Homo is a genus, then species is a sapiens. We also have Homo habilis. So those are species. So you need to know that important part when it comes to taxonomy. Then on the taxonomy, that's where you differentiate, you know, uh, different microorganisms, you know, their behavior, you get. So from here, it's also important that you state the clinical significance of taxonomy, or how is it applied in the medical field, because everything that we're actually doing is in the what is in the medical field. Okay, so you need to, on taxonomy, you need to know the relationships among organisms. That's where you know classification, nomenclature, and identification. That's what taxonomy is all about. So the nomenclature I explained, explain the importance of taxonomy. So here we can just tell you to relate it to maybe that making a diagnosis in the hospital by a doctor. If you know the importance, you can clearly state that one. Okay. So yeah, that's it. I know some terms are under it, some terms under the same taxonomy. That was important. There was this on the taxonomy. Then on bacteriogenesis, mostly the most important part here on bacteriogenesis is knowing the structure of a bacteria, because you can't start rating something minus knowing the structure of a bacteria. Okay, so once you know the structure of a bacteria, that's when now you go on the bacterial growth. Bacterial growth curve there. Mostly this man like asking a lot of questions. The way he phrased questions on that, he can either tell you to draw a well-labeled diagram of bacterial growth curve and explain how antibiotics, the mechanism of antibiotics at every stage of this bacteria, okay, at this bacterial growth curve. So if you look at the lag phase, then how does an antibiotic, a drug, affect this phase? That's what I mean. So if you want to earn 4 marks, you need to prepare in those areas on the bacterial growth scale. Then the last part is, since this is a bacteria now, we want to remove it. It's very much important you know the processes of sterilization, disinfection. Just familiarize yourself with what is disinfection, what are disinfectants, what are antiseptics, what is sterilization. All those, you need to know them, because he likes asking those things mostly. Okay. Then at the end of the what is the same notes of bacterial genetics, sometimes he likes bringing the criteria pyramid, the spouting criteria pyramid. That just tests on what really, or what like when should you sterilize, when should you do high disinfection. So like sterilization, at some point at the end of this, the notes for this one, he stated to say that the device which are contact with tissues or the bloodstream, they are the ones which are supposed to be sterilized. So know what materials are supposed to be sterilized. Is it to sterilize anything? Okay. Is it to disinfect anything? So all know those. Okay. And there are levels of disinfection. There is a high level of disinfection, so familiarize yourself with such terms. Then on the normal floras, we all know that normal floras, they actually bacteria. Okay. So these normal floras, they play critical role in our bodies. Okay. So you should familiarize yourself with the normal floras, for example, like Staphylococcus aureus. Then know how they help us defend against the parasitic infection. So the parasites, they come. So in some areas, he can ask you to state how these normal floras help you to fight infection or anything. So how do they do that? By occupying the space. All those things are explained there. So know the what is the importance of normal floras. How does it really intervene in our body? Okay, like just develop that curiosity about the normal floras. Okay. Then on the vaccinology, so this topic, I don't know if you've learned um what's this immunity in immunology. This topic is just directly linked with immunity. So if you never had issues in understanding immunity in immunology, then you have no issues with it, understand the vaccine. Because usually the vaccine boosts our immune system. So if you know the innate and adaptive immune system, then you are able to, on the vaccinology, you're able to differentiate types of vaccines. We actually have different types of vaccines. We have the dead ones, which are dead organisms. They are dead and introduced in your body. Then they are live attenuated. They are just weakened for like that. So you need to know all of them and state some examples of between these. And the most important on this one, also know the terms, because those terms can come, especially this format of true or false, they can bring those terms. Maybe they want you to find out the differences or what. Even on the choosing the best answer, they can ask you about those terms and they want you to identify them. So in vaccinology, there's nothing much, just link it with the immune system, because definitely there we also discuss about the types of immune system. Yeah. And how do they link? Like what do they do? Okay. Then on virology means it's at the start of a virus, of course. So you need to know the structure of a virus. Then after knowing the structure of a virus, you know there is when we look at the virus, this virus, so when mostly, he likes asking about he likes linking the life cycle of a virus to a general condition like coronavirus. The coronavirus follows or obeys the general life cycle of a virus. And like HIV virus, because HIV virus is a retrovirus. So for it, it does not obey the central dogma of molecular biology. Instead, what it does is it changes from RNA to DNA. But for this one, then in case they explain the life cycle of coronavirus, yeah. So you need to explain it the way it is stated in your notes about the general life cycle of a virus. Then that's where it will going to state to help you. So mostly, if at all he asks you on the life cycle, there are actually 10 steps about the life cycle of a virus. So you need to familiarize yourself with them in case he brings, because he brought in the exams that were from writing last year. Then for pathogen interactions, most of the questions, yes, he can bring questions here, but he just want you to like know the different receptors on how pathogens interact. Okay. They are like, I think, is it toll-like receptors? No, those receptors and other receptors, then it can be helpful to you. All right, thank you very much. I hope you benefited from the video. This is, um, it was just more like a guidance on how you should go about this. Otherwise, all the best in your test, guys.